What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you back on ESPN with a 10-team full PPR mock where we will be selecting from the 7th overall position. Should be pretty interesting. And while we wait for this thing to kick off, a quick reminder, if you guys enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. Let us hear in the comment section your thoughts along with any other questions you guys might have. We will do our best to answer them all. And lastly, make sure to check out the 2022 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide, now available for purchase. All the details in the description, but everything you want at a great value. But with that being said, let's take a look at this mock draft. The first two picks are in. They are Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey. I have zero issues with that. Again, just for the sake of saying it, I would have Christian McCaffrey as my 101, especially in full PPR formats, but I understand all those that want to have Jonathan Taylor in that spot instead. That's totally fine. Let's move on here. I would say the draft really begins like at the number 3, 4, 5 spot. Actually, probably at the number 4 spot after Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, and Austin Eckler have been selected. So interesting here. We saw, after Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry. I don't know how you can take Derrick Henry ahead of Austin Eckler. That's a little bit intriguing. It's full PPR. Then you see Cooper Kupp and Justin Jefferson, so the top 2 wide receivers off the board. Then goes Austin Eckler. So here the question is, do you want to go with a running back? Do you want to go with a wide receiver? So honestly, I'm going to do probably something that's a little bit of an unpopular opinion here. I'm not going to go wide receiver because I think after the top 2 wide receivers are gone, there's a drop off in tiers. I'm instead going to select a running back in Alvin Kamara, who's a lot lower on these rankings, but I think will be climbing up rankings when people realize he's not going to be suspended to kick off the season. The upside of him as a top-notch pass-catching dual-threat running back is still there. So honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if he's an early second-round selection by the time we get to September. I decided to go him ahead of a Najee Harris, ahead of a Dalvin Cook, just to switch things up a little bit. And again, these mock drafts are to try out different things and to a large extent to draw attention to certain players. And I think that's exactly what we're doing here by selecting Alvin Kamara in the first round. Not necessarily saying that I would do this 10 times out of 10, but to say that there is legitimacy to potentially doing something like this. So after Alvin Kamara, you see Najee Harris, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Dalvin Cook. If I hadn't selected Alvin Kamara, I probably would have done the typical just Dalvin Cook draft, and that would have been it. But since I wanted to switch it up, like I said, I went Kamara here. After Dalvin Cook went off the board, Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs, might have gone Stephon Diggs. Now I think the top pretty much 5 wide receivers are off the board. So with that being the case, we're looking at running back. I'm looking at a couple of names. I'm looking at DeAndre Swift. I'm looking at Aaron Jones. I'm looking at Saquon Barkley. I would love any one of those guys. I'm just going to go with DeAndre Swift here and see, out of curiosity, where Aaron Jones and Saquon Barkley are drafted. A little bit of an experiment here. I think the way we've started this draft is, first and foremost, addressing the most important positions, running back, but also just kind of seeing where other league mates, kind of take this draft and allow it to go. I think that's always very valuable as well, to see how other people value these guys compared to where they're ranked on the respective platforms. So, if it comes down to me, I'd have Aaron Jones and Saquon Barkley ranked a lot higher. But hey, if I can get one of those guys in the 3rd round and take advantage of that, yeah, let's do it. Now, it won't be Aaron Jones because Aaron Jones won it at the 206. Kind of expected that. I knew that I was going to probably lose out on him and Saquon Barkley, if not both. But we'll see. So after Aaron Jones, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Leonard Fournette. Right now, I'm kind of banking on people falling for, Javonte Williams, James Conner, Cam Akers, David Montgomery, something like that. And maybe even getting some of those tight ends, Andrews, Kelsey, somebody getting a little bit, aggressive with the quarterback. If that happens, I would gladly take Saquon Barkley in the 3rd round. Again, I don't think it's going to happen, but it's what I'm rooting for, if you will. So Mike Evans goes to the 210, then Travis Kelce at the 301. Zero issues with that. I think that's pretty accurate. Ooh, Nick Chubb. We see a Nick Chubb 302 selection. That's intriguing. I wouldn't have him selected ahead of Saquon Barkley in full PPR formats, but good to see Nick Chubb get some love. Oh, I will do something else here, however, and that will be to pull up the running back rankings, because if I'm not mistaken, I think the last time we did a draft on ESPN, we missed Travis Etienne going in like the 7th round, which was absolutely bananas. But I bring that up to people's attention just to say Travis Etienne, I think his rankings were updated, and he's been just ranked a lot lower on ESPN, which I think is insane. So definitely going to be taking advantage of that anytime I can. Now, of course, Saquon Barkley goes 2 picks before me. I knew that would happen more likely than not, but it is what it is here. You know, if I go wide receiver, I'd probably be going Keenan Allen. And, you know, my top 3 choices right now, I want to, kind of highlight them for you. They are Keenan Allen, they are Mark Andrews, they are Ezekiel Elliott. I've already got 2 running backs. I'm going to try to take advantage of that Travis Etienne poor ranking and then pass up on Zeke for Etienne. So that's the logic there. So it's down to Keenan Allen and Mark Andrews. I'm going to go with Keenan Allen here. And, I think he's just the top wide receiver option left. Yeah, Mark Andrews goes immediately afterwards. I'm not shocked by that. I just think that I can take advantage of some of these tight ends a little bit later on and, hopefully still be okay. And when I say those other tight ends, Darren Waller, George Kittle, I think I can probably get one of them in the 5th round and be in a good spot. And I don't think the drop-off between them and a Mark Andrews is going to be all that much. At least that's what I'm hoping. We'll see. Now, at running back, what's interesting, Ezekiel Elliott is still there. I mean, if Ezekiel Elliott is in the 4th round, if they've given him to me in the 4th round, I guess I'll oblige and select him there. Don't get me wrong. I didn't think we'd be in a situation like this, so that's intriguing. Wow. J.K. Dobbins at the 401 ahead of Ezekiel Elliott. What world are we living in here, folks? Okay, and of course, at the 402, I get sniped on Ezekiel Elliott. Again, that hurts. That's not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. Happened with Saquon Barkley 2 picks before me. Happened with Ezekiel Elliott 2 picks before me. But, and my other guy was going to be Michael Pittman. Okay, this is interesting. These guys are on top of it. So what do we do here now? Do we go with a DJ Moore? Do we go with a Jalen Waddle? Do we go with a Terry McLaurin? I'll probably go with a wide receiver route. The question is which one. And looking at it, honestly, I'd probably go with Terry McLaurin. I think that, out of those guys, he has slightly the higher upside. I don't know what's going to happen with the quarterback situation in Carolina, whether it's going to be Baker, whether it's going to be Sam Darnold, whether it's going to be Matt Corral. I don't know. So I'll go with Terry McLaurin. Sure, Carson Wentz isn't an elite quarterback, but I think arguably he's the best quarterback Terry McLaurin has played with. So I'm okay having McLaurin as my number 2 wide receiver. Definitely, we could have had a little bit of a different team if things broke our way. If Saquon Barkley lasted 2 more picks, if Ezekiel Elliott lasted 2 more picks. But, hey, that's the name of the game sometimes. And I think we've rebounded well in scenarios where we've gotten sniped in the last 2 rounds. So that's why it's so important to have these backup options for yourself, regardless of, the type of draft that you do, whether it's a snake draft, auction draft, just very, very important. You want to not be in a situation where you panic just because you got sniped. You don't want that clock to get too low. You don't want to make a rush decision and then regret it. You want to still go with guys that you have confidence in and guys that you have projected out for pretty good finishes. So right now, I'm interested to see where Kyle Pitts goes. Is Kyle Pitts going to be available to us in the middle of the 5th round? Probably not. But, Waller, George Kittle are still going to be there, if I had to guess. So they are options on the table for us. And hell, I'd even say maybe even in the 6th round. If we want to do it, in a smart way, we'd probably draft Travis Etienne right now, even though he's very, very undervalued. I'm not the only one that probably sees that. So it'd be smart to, potentially take a chance on him now. So What's happened after our Terry McLaurin selection? Chris Godwin, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Jalen Waddle, Breece Hall, and now DJ Moore. So there's about 6 picks until we are next up. If I had to rank, right now what I'm hoping for, I'm looking at some of these wide receivers. There's a lot of good options. I've said it before, Allen Robinson's of the world, Travis Etienne. I'm not going to lie to you. Once we get towards the end of the 5th round, and if a Josh Allen is still there, it's going to be a little bit tempting. Let's see what happens. I doubt it's going to happen. I think he's probably going to get auto-picked. I'm not a guy that drafts quarterbacks that early either way, so it's not the end of the world. But it would be very tempting. It'd be tempting to not take Josh Allen right here at the end of the 5th round, even though it's a 10-team league. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe I really stray from the typical situations by taking Josh Allen here. If Josh Allen is selected a pick before, then that's all right. We have a lot of other options. Kyle Pitts, I also mentioned as a possibility. So let's see what happens. Let's see what the team before us does, whether we will get sniped again or whether this will be an easy selection for us. Right now, I would say the top 3 choices are, I was going to say Josh Allen, Kyle Pitts, and then Travis Etienne. Josh Allen was selected. It's okay. I'll go with Kyle Pitts. I'll go with a high upside tight end. And then in the next round, I'm taking Travis Etienne. At least that's what I'm hoping happens. Let's see if Travis Etienne makes it to us. I'm hoping that we see a run on some of these quarterbacks, a run on tight ends, and some of these mid-round wide receivers. And that way, Etienne makes it back to us. We get our 3rd running back, a 3rd dual threat type of running back, pass-catching abilities. So we'll see. I think there's a good chance of that happening. But, you never know. We've gotten sniped a lot in this mock draft, but I can appreciate that because it really, like I've said before, it puts you in uncomfortable situations. But if you can make it out of those uncomfortable situations and put together a pretty decent squad, then, those are the signs of a good, intelligent fantasy football player, somebody that knows what they're doing, and will probably have a pretty successful season when it's all said and done. So, yeah, right now, I think we're sitting pretty. Kamara, DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, Kyle Pitts. So, fingers crossed that Travis Etienne gets back to us. If not, there's still a lot of different other options to go with that wide receiver. You guys know how I feel about Allen Robinson. But we can probably even wait more on him. So, we just have to survive 3 picks. 3 picks here to go, folks. And we're so close to getting Travis Etienne. 2 quarterbacks just went off the board. Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and yep, we're going to get our guy. We are going to get Travis Etienne in the 6th round. That is highway robbery. I suggest you do this every single place that you can. There's a reason why, in like Yahoo or, in other places, Travis Etienne is going like in the 4th round because that's a lot closer to what his ADP should be. People realize the upside. I don't know what the hell ESPN is smoking, having him ranked this low. But yeah, I don't care if you've seen the videos of James Robinson running in a straight line, like in practice without any defenders. I'm not impressed by that. The guy still has to overcome an Achilles injury. It's going to be the Travis Etienne show at least for the start of the season. Now, we've got probably my 3 remaining favorite players all selected right after we went with Etienne: Waller, Allen Robinson, and George Kittle. So, unfortunately, we won't have a chance to nab one of them in the 7th round, but that is okay. There's still a lot of talent out there, folks. If a quarterback like Lamar or Kyler Murray is there for me in the 7th round, that will be the selection, more than likely. Specifically Lamar Jackson, I would say. Other guys that I really like, Juju Smith-Schuster is pretty tempting, I'm not going to lie. I have high hopes for him as the number 1 in Kansas City, opposite Travis Kelce. That's an intriguing situation for me. So, and also at the same time, adding another wide receiver. We only have 2 at this point in time: Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin. I definitely have Juju Smith-Schuster ahead of Amari Cooper, considering Deshaun Watson is going to be suspended for at least 6 games. So keep those things in mind. So we have to make it again 6 picks until our next selection. I doubt Lamar Jackson is going to be there for us, but I think there's a very high likelihood Juju Smith-Schuster might be. And again, if that is the case, I will be selecting one of those two guys. And if both are available, I'll probably go Lamar Jackson first, and then Juju Smith-Schuster, just because I think there's a deeper pool of wide receivers. So, there's a higher chance that Juju falls to me in the next round as opposed to Lamar Jackson. And I'd almost put like anything on the fact that Lamar won't make it to me. Cordero Patterson just went. Before that, TJ Hawkinson, Darnell Mooney, Miles Sanders. But let's see. It's these next two picks that really I'm paying attention to. There goes Dalton Schultz. Ooh, so we will have one of Lamar Jackson or Juju Smith-Schuster fall to us. So that's nice to see. I can appreciate that. And Michael Thomas just went. So, hey, we get lucky for once, I would say, in this draft where we get one of the guys that I was hoping to fall to us that actually does. So Lamar Jackson falls to us. I'll take him as my top quarterback. No issues there. And then if I can land Juju Smith-Schuster as a bench warmer, then we are cooking with grease. So I like that situation. Lamar Jackson at this point in time, a guy that I have as my number 2 overall quarterback, I think is very good value pick. So I'm happy with that. I think you can argue, like in some other spots, maybe we reached a little bit, something like that. But, at the end of the day, I don't think it was anything egregious. Alvin Kamara, like I said before, I wanted to draw some attention to him. DeAndre Swift in the second round, nothing too shabby about that. Ooh, there goes Juju Smith-Schuster. So it wasn't meant to be, but it's okay. Let's see if somebody like Rashad Bateman makes it back to us. Get a little bit of a stack between him and Mr. Lamar Jackson. I wouldn't be too upset about that. And then we can kind of work our way to wrapping this up. So, yeah, Rashad Bateman is still there. Alan Lazard, who I really like. I'd probably go Rashad Bateman first. Let's see if there's any wide receivers kind of scrolling through that are mispriced, that are sticking out. Just Rashad Bateman and Lazard right now. Running back, I do like somebody like, there's actually some really good value here still left on the board. High upside guys, A.J. Dillon, Kareem Hunt. We are on the clock, though, so let's quickly make a selection. I want to add another wide receiver. I'm going Rashad Bateman. But going back to the running backs, A.J. Dillon is an intriguing guy, high upside. Rashad Penny, also very intriguing. Melvin Gordon as well, if something happens to, obviously, Javonte Williams. We're set at tight end. We're set at quarterback. We're set at running back, but and wide receiver, I think you can make an argument. But right now, basically, we've gotten to the point where you're taking best player available at wide receiver and running back, since we've got like 2 top 5 guys at quarterback and tight end. And I think we've done a good job of doing the positional advantage, at those important positions. Agent Dillon just went off the board. So, slowly but surely, some of that talent is being exasperated. But that's to be expected. That's what happens when you're drafting, hopefully with other smart individuals. So right now, let's see some of the guys that we queued up. Rashad Penny, Melvin Gordon still available at the running back position. You get to a point where you want to go high upside, and I mean almost double-digit rounds. Yeah, that's the name of the game. We've got the core of our roster. We've already got one bench piece taken care of. Lamar, I don't know how you can't have this as an A grade for the quarterback. Running backs, Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Swift, Travis Etienne. I personally really like that trio. I think it's probably like B+, A-. Wide receivers could have been a little bit better. Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, Rashad Bateman. I will admit that. But I like Keenan Allen as our anchor. I think it's probably a B group, something like that. And then Kyle Pitts, I think he can be a top 5 tight end when it's all said and done. It'll be interesting whether he finishes like 3, 4, or 5, but the upside is definitely there in terms of volume. So I like the situation. Let's make one final selection and then kind of wrap this thing up, because a lot of people have kind of checked out, gone on auto pick, whatever the case might be. And I think some of these mocks kind of lose their meaning when it gets to that point in time. So, Rashad Penny was just drafted. Yikes. Okay, well, that's all right. Like I said, I wasn't, hurting for running back depth, so it's not the end of the world. Tony Pollard is also somebody that's very intriguing. Kyler Murray just went. Jalen Hurts. So some of those quarterbacks, Tom Brady. Right now, I'll probably go wide receiver. I want to get Alan Lazard. I believe he's still available. He sure is. So let's go with him, and then that kind of wraps up the core of this draft. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Hopefully this was helpful. You got something out of it. If you have any questions, let me hear it as well. I'll do my best to answer them all. And then if you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at alldaypigskin to continue, interacting with us there. You'll even see me make one more pick here with Melvin Gordon. But other than that, check out the 2022 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide. Everything you want, great value, details in the description. In the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.